Having trouble connecting. Check your internet.
We are live.
So it takes us a moment or two before we get people on. So I was just giving it a second before I welcomed everybody. Hi, everybody. Behind the scenes it's today and it's Monday. And we're not going to be doing this next Monday because it is July 5th. And we're all going to take a break. And hopefully you guys are too. So today, our conversation, which is, it's probably one that every person thinks about someone else, maybe even a spouse. But it is really hard to look at our kids and wonder what is going on in their brain. Like, what made them do that? So I was trying to think back to like, what are the stories in my family? And I'm not allowed to talk about this topic, but since I'm not going to assign it to a child, I feel a little freer. I've tried to write the article, but I've been told it's too soon, which I believe 20 years from now might still be too soon. But I do have a kid who got 3 speeding tickets their first year of driving. Now, yeah, how does that work? Like, how long does it take to get the lesson that you need to drive the friggin' speed limit? Now, it's true. Most people go over the speed limit. But when you look like a teenager, you are a little bit under suspicion already. And there are particular places where cops might be sitting to get teenagers. And yeah, it happened 3 times. So that to me was like, what were you thinking? And I'm sure as everyone else speaks, I will come up with 20 more that I had that thought with, or 200. So I am going to pass this to Mindy.
Thank you, Sue. And I guess I'm sorry to tell everyone that I don't know when that ends, because I have a 20-something who is highly allergic food to legumes, beans, peanuts, nuts, but the legumes and the beans are what the story is about. And he is planning to go to Spain with a bunch of kids for a couple of weeks. And I'm like, what are you thinking? Like, every restaurant, what's the primary, Eka, you would know, the primary food of Spain? And we're talking EpiPens, anaphylactic. So literally we said, what were you thinking? So I and then I can only imagine, that's got me so blocked out from the teen years. But I don't know when it ends. So I'm sorry to say I have no answers. I don't know what's going on. I thought the frontal lobe was supposed to develop by 24. I'm not so sure it does. So bad news. Sorry. Sad news Monday from Mindy. I'll throw it over to Eka. Eka, validate me, right? Spain? What's the major food group?
Oh my God, olives.
I thought it was beans.
Well, that too, but olives too. And the beans, peas are in everything. Paella is like, yeah, absolutely. Oh, you're right. You know what? I don't even think of that beans are the big one in the legumes. Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God.
Cross-contamination, every restaurant he walks into. He's not worried. I am. Sorry, I'm going beyond my time. You can tell this is a major topic for him.
Of course it is. And I would be concerned too. But you know what, Sue, whenever you send these out, so for those of you who are watching, Sue sends out like our topic, and it sends me down a rabbit hole every week. And I'm like, oh my God, oh no, don't make me think of that again. But so mine is, and Mindy over here, no, this way, whatever. Mindy agrees with me on this one, is hate sleepovers, hate slumber parties. And this is one of those. So I don't remember how old my daughter was, but I heard she had friends over. It could have been 4, it could have been 700. I don't even remember. And it was late at night. I heard stuff on my stairs. I knew they were in the basement. They were coming upstairs. I didn't know what. And then like 10 minutes later, there's this hysterical laughter coming from the backyard. And it's like 1, 2 in the morning. So I go, I got to go see what's going on. So I go outside, and my daughter and her friends have taken a tarp from the basement, and we live on a house that has an incline. And in the winter where it's snow, they like do this like snowboarding, so they have a tarp and they've covered it in some kind of water and soap. I don't know if it's dish soap or if it's laundry detergent. And then on top of that, they've covered it with glitter. So now the noise I heard going up the stairs is because she went upstairs to give every one of her friends a sport bra and a pair of shorts and a towel. So now I have however many girls in my house covered in glitter and soap on every sport bra and every pair of shorts and every towel I have. So of course I'm like, what were you thinking? And it was like, it was such a great idea. I think I cleaned soap and glitter out of my house for 6 months. It was disgusting. It was in my washing machine because I had to, of course, I washed all the sport bras and shorts and all the time. I mean, seriously. And she was like, but it was so fun. I was like, where, how? Like, what? So anyway.
What were you thinking? But Eka, from now on, I'm going to tell you my story in advance because I would like it to be delivered like that also. And I don't know how to do that. So I'm just going to have you do my story as well. And also anybody watching right now, if you want to, well, Lisa put in Budug, of course, that glitter. Who doesn't hate glitter?
I hate glitter.
Yeah, right. But also if you have a story, put it into our chat. We love that. And I'm going back to you, Eka.
I really think we moved out of that house. And I think one of the reasons I moved out of that house is because I couldn't get rid of the glitter and it was just time. So anyway, I'm going to pass it over to Jody.
Oh, I hate following Eka. Anyway, well, my kids are perfect, so I don't have any stories. No, I'm just kidding. But I find it, I think for me, I guess I just assume that there are going to be those moments where they do something and I look at them. But I think for me, what really gets at me more is when I just want them to explain something or just even say like how they're doing or whatever. And I feel like I'm just up against kind of like a blank wall. You know what I'm trying to say? Like the Great Wall of China, perhaps, where there's just no, give and take. And so I think that for me is one of the frustrations. Or, then you get on the other side where there's just, way too much. So, it's like trying to find that happy medium of, how you're going to kind of communicate to have some of these conversations, I think was what's, what I think about. So I think well, never mind. So I'm going to pass. If I think of another story, I'll come back on. But for right now, I'm kind of in the Sue camp where I don't know that I'm really at liberty to share some of the ones that I would want to or would think of at this time. So I'm going to pass it up to Emily.
Hi. So this took me back to middle school with two of my three children who weren't really loving school at the time, and then just made it so much harder for themselves because they both did the most ridiculous things with their notebooks and school supplies. And I just couldn't understand it. So one of them, we live in California, so there are exterior hallways. And so one of my sons would not go to his locker. He had, because of the way his schedule was, he said, I can't go to my locker. So there was a table near the lunch area where people would put like lost and found type things. And he would just store his notebooks there. And so then like the few times it rained in the winter, it really, really rained. And of course, this is like leading up right to the end of the semester. And I don't know if other schools have this, but like these notebook checks and things that you might have in science class, interactive notebook, whole thing completely ruined, stuff thrown in the trash. And like I would walk the dog over there sometimes when he would be saying, I would get an email from the teacher or something. Oh, where's that? It's missing. I would walk over there because we live across the street from the school. There it was on that table. Have this conversation. You have to stop putting things on the table. then there was a ramp. They would put things on the ramp. So this, I mean, I just was like, I do not understand. And then one of my other children, the same school, boba tea is a huge deal here. And he and his friends also, I think this was near the end of second semester. So again, right when
What's a huge deal?
boba tea. It's like a tea with tapioca pearls and lots of flavors and sweet. And so there's a very popular place that a lot of the kids go. And he decided to take 2 large cups to go. And, they have, it's like just a plastic cup, but they put the plastics like sticky over the top, but it's not that secure. And he stored them in his backpack and then didn't look at the backpack for an entire weekend. And so by Monday, everything inside, including the whole backpack, was just ruined. So that one still gets me. I'm just like, why are you making this so much harder for yourselves than it has to be? And then scrambling around at the end of a semester, trying to get teachers to give you grace, trying to find somebody who you can share notes with or recreate this entire the interactive science notebook. Man, that is the bane of my existence in middle school. But these kids did not make it any easier for themselves. So I hope they've grown out of that particular habit. So I will pass it to Jen.
Oh my gosh, Emily, you just gave me a flashback to one of the worst smells I ever smelled in my life, which was a time okay, I'll back up a little bit. Do you love it when your kid's teacher assigns something that involves them making food? Because I don't love that, because it always involved having to go get some odd ingredient we didn't own. And it was always at 9 o'clock at night, and I need to bring it into school the next day. All right, so my least favorite of these was it was a cultural day awareness thing, and for Spanish class, she had to bring in a recipe. So we quickly found the thing we could make the fastest was 7-can tortilla soup. I may have talked about this before because it has scarred me deeply. First of all, I figured out my kid didn't know how to use a can opener, so I guess that was the plus side. We learned how to use a can opener that day. On can number 6 out of the 7-can tortilla soup, our can opener broke. So I had to quick run out to the hardware store to get a new one 2 minutes before it closed. Finished the soup. It was adequate. It wasn't anything to write home about, but she took it to work or to school the next day, claimed everybody liked it. Of course, she didn't, but everybody else liked it. And then she somehow forgot that all the extras of the soup were left in her tote bag, that she had taken it to school that day. She forgot it on the bus. She left it on the bus over a weekend. She comes home on Monday and she goes, the bus driver said I left this on the bus, and she comes in and she dumps it on the counter, and I wanted to die. It smelled so bad. So all of my thoughts were around things like, first of all, why didn't you just throw it away when you got it? Why did you bring it home? Why did you leave it on the bus in the first place? But there's no answer to any of these questions. The answer is that they're in middle school and that's what they do. They're not thinking at that level. There was another one we had to make that was like an almond cake that she had to make one at home to practice, and then she had to make another one to bring in for her class. And I wanted her to skip the practice step and just say, go ahead and just make the one you're going to take into class. And she wouldn't. She was so rule abiding. She's like, no, the teacher says you have to make one at home for your family first, and they have to give you feedback on it, and then you have to make the one you bring into school. And she made both with this ridiculously expensive almond flour cake thing. So Emily, thanks for that terrible trip down memory lane. All I can say is middle school in general is just one big period of what were they thinking? I don't even have specifics for you. That's just my general feeling about it. So who hasn't gone yet? Who would like to go next? Jessica.
I think I'm the only person that hasn't gone yet. I'm trying to decide if I should tell this story and if I what details should be omitted. I found out that not my family, but just a family friend like a while ago, like one of the kids got in trouble for underage drinking at a party, and like, you know, the police came and all that stuff. And I'm just hearing this story, and there's so many details where I'm like, what on earth were you expecting going to this party and drinking outside? And like, and out of all the details that I'm hearing about this party, I'm like, why on earth did you have a DJ? Like, what were you expecting from, like, just, of course somebody was gonna call the police. Like, what? And it's just, I don't know exactly how old he was, not 21, but just, I just don't understand. Maybe I'm 26 now, so I can drink, I can, you know, go to those kind of parties. But I'm like, when you're not, and when nobody at this party is old enough, why would any of these seem like a good idea? And I was like talking to him, he's like, yeah, it wasn't our best moment, huh? I don't know. That's all I got. I'll pass it along to Sue. I think he still needs to go.
Well, Jessica, what I'll say is that since it's such a common occurrence, you got to believe that kids are not wondering what's going to happen. They're just pretty sure they're going to get away with it. And I would say that a lot of my kids did get away with stuff. Now that they're older and they tell us stuff, it's really disappointing. Like under our noses, really under our noses, things happened that, you know, a party in the basement while we're sleeping. And it's so good for them that we don't find out till now, because now we just kind of laugh. I would not have laughed then. Anyway, all right. So nobody really shared except for Lisa. Lisa, thank you so much. Even the butt ugh makes us happy. If anybody has a story they want to put into the comments, please let us know. And I'm going to put out there, we are interviewing Dr. Adam Price tomorrow, who wrote the book, He's Not Lazy. It's a great book. He's a great guy. We're interviewing him for our podcast, so it won't go up for another week or so afterwards. But if you have any questions that you would like us to ask him because you are living with a child who is driving you crazy because they procrastinate so much or even never get things done, if you have a question, put it in the comments and we will ask Dr. Adam Price. Thanks, everybody, for being here, and have a great week. We will not be here next Monday. Happy July 4th to everybody.